examples of fat shaming, and this is from Huffington Post. And what they did is they asked their readers, you know, on Twitter to go in and give examples of everyday fat shaming. I think we all have a million of them, just a couple. And I think the first one is definitely my hot button, being that I had a stroke a couple of years ago. But one of the ladies wrote in and she said, or tweeted in, and hers was, your whatever illness you have would get better if you only lost weight. And I think we hear that a lot, right? And I think we hear that from doctors. And we hear that from people who really don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And, you know, for me, that's definitely a hot button because I think my stroke had nothing really to do with my weight. And I think, again, if you watch, you have to watch Meghan's video, because one of the things that she says on the video is, you don't know me.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
You don't
You
know,
don't know my
right?
medical history. And I've had dealt with back issues that were not helped by my weight. So I've had kind of the opposite thing, but it's still, when anyone comes in and wants to make a judgment, acts like a doctor about, well, this is what's wrong with you because of this reason. No, there are a lot of reasons and a lot of things that go into that. Yeah. And this is just one thing. Yeah. So just because I'm a certain size doesn't mean I have all of these diseases. And it's not your place to even make a judgment based on that.
It's so true. You don't know me.
You don't know me.
What really burns me is when you might be at the gym or out working out and people are still making fun of you while you're working out, when they should be encouraging and supporting you, but they just make fun of like what you look like in your outfit or, you know, the fact that you're on the treadmill or doing something. They're still like, look at that. Like that's, you know, and they're fat shaming you while you're actually attempting to be healthy. You know, fit and healthy, and you need that support and encouragement. I mean, we hate going to the gym. You know, a lot of people do, but we go and we need that encouragement.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Sometimes I think your attitude gets around it though, because I went to a gym actually in Hollywood, Crunch.
Wow.
And I was the only fat person at the gym, and it took me 3 weeks before I actually realised that I was the only fat person there. Wow. And when I saw another bigger person, I went, oh, they look familiar to me. And I went, oh yeah, because they're fat and I'm fat too. And nobody, Was it, Kelly, did you just get in a zone? Like, I didn't even notice Sherry Lee. I had no idea until I saw someone thinking, oh, maybe I've met them. No. You're fat, I'm fat.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
That is that is
So I think it depends on how receptive you are to it as well.
Right.
Like, you can call me fat, you can say what you like, but it's not going to affect me because I know that I'm fat. So,
and it all comes down to confidence, right? It really comes down to confidence. And, you know, we say so many times on the show is that confidence is so easy to say, but it's yet the hardest thing to get. And, you know, another example, and I have heard this one before, and I can't believe that people are still saying it, but you own a two-piece bathing suit? Well, yes, I do. I own many, thank you.
I have a fat bikini.
Right?
And I'll rock it out.
That's awesome.
I know I look damn good. And I'm going to go to the beach. That's the thing to me is people make a big deal if you wear something to the beach. It's like, we're all at the beach.
Yeah.
You know, I take my clothes off and take showers, right? Like at some point during the day, I'm naked. Like, it's okay. It's just a body.
Right. And it's my body and I love it. Yeah. So if I want to wear a two-piece bikini, I'm wearing a two-piece bikini.
How am I hurting you in any way?
Yeah. Exactly. This is one that I have heard since I've been a little girl. And it's, oh, but you have such a pretty face.
Oh yes, that one.
Well, thank you, I do. And I've got a great body and more.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. I actually, a long time ago when I lived in New York City, at my thinnest, I was a size 8, which in Hollywood is still shocker, right? So I was a size 8, and it was my first show, singing and dancing at this thing, and the guys in the show pulled me aside one day, and they gave me this big talk, and they thought they were being so helpful, and they were like, you are so beautiful in your face. Now, if you would lose about 15 more pounds, you could be hot, and the guys would be after you.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
I know. And I was just like, you know what? If there was a hashtag back then, I would have been like, hashtag, I'm going to punch you in your face.
Yeah. or better yet, hashtag, suck it. We're getting t-shirts.
A similar one as well, but this is worse. I was a radio announcer, syndicated radio announcer for many years, and all the headphones are plugged in remotely, and I heard my boss coming down the line saying how fat I was, how much weight I'd put on, and it got back to him that I'd heard it, and then the radio station, get this, gave me a personal trainer and a gym membership as an apology.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, that's
that was
so
like
wrong.
so weird way
We're so
to go
sorry that
around
you're
it.
fat and we want you to change it.
And I was radio. Nobody can see you in radio. What?
Wow.
Still wasn't right. It doesn't make that right at all.
Yeah, that's just.
I've had people be like, "Oh, you have such a pretty face. If you just lost weight, like you could do it." But the truth is, I touched very attractive men naked, and I'm a big girl, and there are a lot of you out there that like big girls, or just like girls that are confident, and you don't pay so much attention.
Right?
I do good work. We all do
There's
good work.
skinny people that are ugly. Let's remember that.
Well,
You can be fat and ugly. You can be skinny and ugly. You can be fat and pretty. You can be skinny and pretty.
The world, we need everybody. We need everybody in this world. We really do,
And
right?
actually what she just said,
Just
thank you
because
for
you're
saying
skinny
that.
doesn't mean you're beautiful. Just because you're fat doesn't mean that you're ugly.
Yeah. And just because you're fat, it doesn't mean you're lazy.
No.
You know, it doesn't mean you're, and you talked about this in your video. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean
It doesn't
that
mean you're unhygienic. It doesn't mean that you're not intelligent. It doesn't mean any of these things. Like I've done a 5K. Like I work out. I do all these things. It's like I'm not lazy, but you don't understand the story behind anything, and you don't understand how I feel or where I am in my body.
Right.
So,
where you are in your life.
yeah.
Where you are in your
No,
life.
it's true. I work out up to 5 days a week with LA Beach Fit, and you know, the first glance, everyone's assuming, oh, she's not going to be able to keep up or whatever. But I am running circles around the women who actually look more by society standards, you know, perfect. And I'm very fit, and you know, people just assume, just judging the book by its cover.
Yeah.
And actually, have you all heard about? And I love that you said what you just said, by the way, because I was like, oh, I got to tell them about this. There was, or is, this blog, and it's called Return of the Kings, which they really need to change their name. It should be called Return of the D-Bags. Okay. So back in October, I just found this out.
D-bags.
Yes. D-bags.
Boobs.
No, like
douchebag.
yes.
Oh, I
So,
thought it was boobs.
well, no, that would be.
Return of the-
Yeah, right. Anyway, point being is back in October, and I just found out about this, which shows they didn't succeed in their mission, but they were on a mission to make a national week called hashtag Fat Shaming Week.
Oh, I
Fat
have a
Shaming
video
Week.
about it.
Yeah.
I have
Yes.
a video about
And
it.
they
Yep.
spent every day, every minute, waking hour fat shaming women.
Yep.
And they
On Twitter.
Yes.
On Facebook.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Well, you know, and I just found out about them, so they didn't
no,
really.
the leader of that hates me on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sure he
Oh,
does.
he tweets at me every so often.
Really?
Yeah, but if they came up
He's
against
got
a woman that had D-bags, they'd probably change their mind.
Well, and the poor
Right? It's true.
uneducated men, you know, who are behind this, they feature these pictures of these very airbrushed, perfect, you know, with the magic bras, and you know, it's not reality, and you know. I was mad at first. I don't know how you handled it, but
I calm myself down. I made a video that was very
Good.
It was very nice.
she got to her good, which is guess what? Pissed
Yeah.
them off more, I'm sure.
Yeah, they
right?
They hate it.
Because what we've done is, I was like, wait a second, why am I getting mad? They know that there's a curvy girl revolution.
Yep.
They know that it's happening, and they are scared about it because they feel like power is being taken away from them. If there's someone more powerful than them, and that we don't even have a penis, oh no, right? So like, I'm just saying, these guys, they're idiots.
Yeah.
So but I want all you women out there not to
Issues.
believe one word that they say.
No.
No.
Oh, and guys, you were born from curvy women.
Yeah.
Hello. So, you know, that's why you're here.
And
So
they
show
had
some respect.
D-bags.
They just wish they had D-bags, right? Right. But it's just, you know, sadly, fat shaming is everywhere. We see it every day. You know, we see it every day, and you know, for the younger generation coming up, that's why we're here doing Go Curvy. That's why Meghan does what she does. That's why Kelly does what she does. That's why Dellany does what she does, because we want to show, you know, the next generation, ladies out there that don't have the support we have. It's gonna be okay. You are wonderful. You have a whole community here that loves you, waiting with open arms, and you know. The douchebags on Twitter, the douchebag that keeps leaving me messages on all my YouTube videos. Who cares?
And something that you constantly remind me since I've met you, and I thank you for this, because I try to give a compliment to women at least once a day, if not 5 times a day. And you say if you can change someone's life, at least one person a day, then you've done your job. So
right? Just give that, you know, give that virtual hug out there to the lady who's, you know, maybe she's in Middle America and she doesn't have what we have here. You know, she doesn't have the love and the support of the curvy community or our friends. You know, virtual hugs to all of you. You know, you're wonderful. Just don't let anybody tell you you're not. But yeah, fat shaming, we'll be covering that a lot. And again, you know, you're gonna fat shame, you're gonna be called out on this show, so you know, don't
Yeah,
do
you-
it.
I like that. Call
Don't
out
do
those
it.
fat
It's
shamers.
I feel like people,
But not the good kind of D-bag.
not the good bag. I feel
the
like people in
D-bag.
general just need to be aware that when you're on Twitter and you're saying, you're like making a remark about someone who's big and doing something that you don't agree with, like, oh, they're daring to eat a hamburger in public or something, or just decide to make judgments based on the way that people look, and you do that publicly, the things that you're saying are relating and being heard by all of the other people in your life who also look like who you're talking about.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's resonating with everyone around you, and the judgments you make about strangers are the judgments you're making about the people that you care about the most.
Right.
And they're hearing that, and they're internalizing that, and it's changing the way they feel about themselves. So
Yes.
you just need to be very aware and very educated on what you're talking about, and just be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind, because you are hurting more than just the person you're talking about.
Yeah.
And, you know, kindness is respected. So, you know, be kind.
And be kind to the D-bags, because
Yeah.
I tell you, there is truth in kill them with kindness. And I'm very good at that. So
with that smile, how not?
Yeah, but they probably have a pretty face, so.
Your curvy body's going on, child. Looking good with your fashion style. Life is short, it ain't no guarantee.